this me? No, this is them. Oh. We don't have name tags. I'm well. How much stuff? Okay. You don't need double for me? Okay. Just make sure. Okay.
That's funny. Monty, we good? Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the order of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Howe. The quorum's present at 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is discuss, consider, and act upon approving the minutes from the November 14th meeting. Well, I got a copy of that. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Got a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right, item number 2 on the agenda, discuss and consider and approve a correction of the plat document and authorize signature for the Connection Park addition.
This is just a quick house cleaning. What happened is both P&Z and council approved the correct plat. When it was printed off for signing, the prior plat was accidentally printed off and signed and filed. So the correct plat has been filed, and what is being approved tonight is just kind of an explanation document that was drafted by the developer's attorney, just kind of outlining what had happened and pointing out that the final plat that's filed is the correct plat. And it's just some house cleaning so that if anybody 20 years from now is looking at the title record on any of the property, they'll see the first plat, the second plat, and this will explain the situation. So it's just an authorization to let the chairman sign that document so it can be filed and clean up the title record.
All right, any questions?
James, sorry. So it's they're filing this in property records, but because it's not a plat, they can't file it in plat records. So just because I have experience with the property records, they're going to make sure the way it's indexed at the county in property records references the plat that it's correcting.
Yes, the document itself does that in itself.
Okay.
It's so that when somebody's running title, they'll pull that.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need to clear us on. Motion to approve.
Okay, have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay. All right, last item, discuss, consider, and approve the preliminary plat for Noble Ridge Phase 1B.
While the city engineer is passing that out, and I also believe we have the developer's engineer here as well, the engineers have been discussing and have addressed plat comments, so there's been good cooperation, as I understand it, between the engineers. There is some amendments that are being currently worked up in the development agreement for this property. We don't have that ready tonight, so what we're going to be asking to be done is this will approve we're requesting that you approve the plat for 1B with conditions, and the conditions are those that are set out in this letter. Our expectation is that when we get the document to you probably next month, it will clear up all of these conditions, but we're just basically asking for an approval with the conditions as set out in the city engineer's letter dated January 16, 2024.
Okay. All right, questions?
So looking at the plat that we've got in front of us here, nearly all of the lots are 40 foot across. I know council had given concessions on that for a certain number of lots, but this is nearly all of them. Do we know exactly what the concessions was as far as smaller than normal lots?
Do you happen to know quantity? I don't know off the top of my head number of quantity of 40-foot lots. James, do you happen to know on that.
It's based on a percentage.
Okay.
I don't know the percentage off the top of my head.
Okay, and so there's no council requirement that, like, they can do all the smaller lots first, and we're not gonna end up holding the bag?
Yeah, my knowledge of the agreement, there's no schedule on which lots come when.
Well,
Correct.
I'm not a fan, but I don't know that there's anything we can do.
Right. Any other questions?
That's my question.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve with the conditions from the city engineer?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, have a second?
Second it.
All right, all in favor? All right. That's it. So at 6:05, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Good evening. There being a quorum present, this regular session of the Howe City Council is hereby called to order on Tuesday, January 16, 2024, at 6:09 p.m. under the Open Meetings Act of the State of Texas. Before we begin, please remove your caps and silence your cell phones. Thank you. Let us stand for the prayer and the pledges. Councilman Joe Shepherd, pray.
Father, we pray that you'll guide us by your hand in the decisions we make for the city. Pray for protection for all our servicemen and women, whether they're serving abroad or here in the United States, that you'll be with them, watch over them, protect them. We also pray for our police and firefighters as they battle or engage in their respective professions. And Father, we pray for those who are affected by these winter storms, that you'll be with them and keep them safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Now for our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas flag. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, one indivisible. Please be seated. We'll first do our public recognition. I would like to ask that Eagle Scouts Gage Troxtel and Alex Jones, if you're here this evening, if you would come up front so we can honor your accomplishment. If you will, just stand up here so we can all look at you. Recently, these two young men received their Eagle Scout badge, and on behalf of the City of Howe, congratulations on your accomplishments. Let's give him a hand. And then, Gage, we've got a certificate of appreciation.
We'll just be pretty in the background. I don't know if we want to be in the picture. We'll just be pretty in the background. We'll just stand. Let's get down. Where are you, Joe?
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, sir. Is Sergeant David Morris, if we could ask you to come up here, up front, please. Sergeant Morris, if you will, come up front. I'd like to recognize Sergeant David Morris for receiving the Life Saving Award. Sergeant Morris responded to a call where residents were concerned about one of their neighbors. Sergeant Morris took the appropriate steps necessary, and as a result, the individual was able to receive the appropriate medical attention that resulted in saving her life. On behalf of the City of Howe, thank you for your service, Sergeant Morris. Let's give him a hand. Sergeant Morris, I've got a certificate for you, but also, Chief, do you have anything that you would like to say? Yes, sir.
What I'll say is, police officers and firefighters do this sort of thing all the time. But oftentimes, it's just one decision away from disaster. Not knocking on the door, not listening intently. So although it may seem like it's a simple thing, you could have easily not have done the right thing and somebody could die. So his actions fit the qualifications for the police department's life saving award. Although I've already given him my name.
Goodbye. It's my turn. I think I hope
I've been told Ms. Meyer is on her way.
Okay. We will now enter our citizen comments. The City Council invites citizens to speak to the council on topics not already scheduled for public hearing or on the agenda. Citizens may address the council for a maximum of 2 minutes. The council is unable to respond to or discuss any issues that are brought up during this section that are not on the agenda, other than to make the statement of specific factual information in response to a citizen's inquiry or recite existing policy in response to the inquiry. I do have one public comment form. Does anyone have one that they haven't turned in yet? Mr. Davis, would you please go to the pulpit and speak, please? If you will, give us your name and your address.
My name is Steve Davis. My address is 6043 Farmington Road in Howe, Texas, 75459. My name is Steve Davis. I own the butcher shop, Don Smokehouse here, Don Smokehouse Manufacturing. I have Champions of Goodness Martial Arts here in Howe, and I am a sitting board member to the Chamber of Commerce for 2 years. I want to speak on behalf of Mr. Monty Walker's position coming up for city administrator. The city has a lot of problems, as everybody knows, and it took us a while to get here, and it's going to take us a while to get out. But one thing over the last 2 years that I've really learned from Mr. Walker with working with the chamber is that there's first of all, there's a lot of people that are qualified for this position. There are outsiders that, perhaps might even be better qualified than Mr. Walker. However, those are just things written on a piece of paper. The difference with Mr. Walker is that he's invested in this community, and he's shown that over and over and over. What makes this community warm, what gives this community a personality, is a lot of the things that Mr. Walker is directly responsible for. Everything from Christmas to Halloween to Founder's Day to the park down here commemorating all the branches of the U.S. military, all the work he does with the youth around. From a business point of view, anything that I've ever had a need for my businesses over there, Mr. Walker has been quick to act and quick to resolve issues quickly. He's always open. I've learned a lot from Mr. Walker working with the Chamber of Commerce about how a lot of things work behind the scenes. And there's a lot of time and a lot of effort that he invests in this community that he's not asked to. He does it because he loves the people here. He's invested, he cares about the people here. And although there's a lot of qualifications on paper, his qualifications are scattered all around the city, from the ballpark, from the youth of Howe, from the relationships he has with all the local businesses, the parks, everything that he's involved in. I can think of no one more qualified than Mr. Walker, and I hope you see the same and choose to make him a permanent addition to the City of Howe administration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will now move on to our consent items. Our mayor comments. The City of Howe has 3 city council seats up for election, and the first day to pick up a packet is tomorrow, Wednesday, January 17, 2024. Packets can be picked up at the City Hall at 116 East Hanning Street, Howe, Texas. Early voting begins April 22 through 26 and April 29 through 30. Voting day is on May 4th, 2024, and that is also the same day as our Founders Day Festival.
When's the last day to turn in a packet?
The last day to turn it in,
That's February 17th.
I believe that's correct.
And if anybody wants one, they can get them from the city secretary, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And we do have a packet at City Hall already ready, if anyone is wanting to pick one up. Moving on to our consent items. These items consist of non-controversial or housekeeping items required by law.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
there's our second Eagle Scout.
Oh.
They were a little late. I told her 6:15, so.
Okay, so if you guys don't mind, Alex Jones, if you don't mind, if you, I'm gonna recognize you real quick. So come on up. If you will, just stand right here. So we also want to recognize Alex Jones. He too has recently had a great accomplishment of receiving his Eagle Scout badge. And on behalf of the city of Howe, we want to offer our congratulations, and if you will, give him a hand, please. And Alex, you want to take a picture? This is the appreciation. Congratulations. Take a picture.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you for understanding. Make sure we recognize him as well. Consent items. These items consist of non-controversial or housekeeping items required by law. Items may be considered individual by any council member making such request prior to a motion and vote on the consent items. 1, discuss, consider, and approve consent items which are marked by an asterisk. Minutes of council meeting, November 14, 2023. Minutes of special council meeting, November 28, 2023. Bills being paid for the month. Election items. Joint election contract with Howe ISD. Notice of general election. Order of election, May 4, 2024. Grayson County Tax Assessor reports. 2023 Certified Annual Tax Report. 2024 tax roll values. Does the council wish to discuss this item or any of these items? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Okay, Billy makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Rodney seconds. Do we, all in favor?
I'll abstain because of the ISD.
Okay, all right. So all in favor is Billy, Rodney, and Sarah.
And Joe.
I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand, Joe. And Joe. Any opposed? And
I'll abstain.
Michael will abstain. We will move on to our action items. Before I read item number 1, I will read the mayor's recommendation. Dear council, I have worked very closely with Monty Walker during the past several months that he has served as interim city administrator. Over the past 5 months, Mr. Walker has proven himself to be more than capable of meeting the needs required to fill the city administrator position. Mr. Walker has excelled in this role, exhibiting the highest level of productivity that I have seen in this role since I have been mayor. Mr. Walker produces a high volume of work while consistently maintaining high standards for quality and accuracy. Mr. Walker possesses the ultimate can-do attitude while taking on all these tasks with positive energy and a smile. His upbeat personality, engaging personal style, and effective communication and people skills enable him to interact effectively with developers, vendors, staff, and citizens. Mr. Walker is very well organized and keeps track of the details necessary to coordinate projects and to run an efficient office. Proactive and anticipating rising administrative needs, Mr. Walker takes initiative to go beyond the expected perimeters of his job. I am very grateful for Mr. Walker's contributions to the City of Howe and very confident that he has the intelligence, work ethic, and communication skills to add value to the city administrator position. Mr. Walker is a lifelong resident of the City of Howe and is committed and loyal to the city and its residents. Mr. Walker is passionate about seeing the City of Howe succeed. It is my recommendation that the City Council hires Monty Walker as City Administrator. Sincerely, Mayor Carla McDonald. Action item number 1, discuss, consider, and approve the hiring of Monty Walker as City Administrator.
I have some questions about this and about the way it's written. What you've done, Mayor, is you've forced the council to vote only for Monty and not to consider other applicants.
I'm
It's
sorry,
the
Joe, I'm
council
having a hard
position.
time hearing you.
It's the council's position and responsibility to nominate whom they choose individually as a city administrator. The wording on this does not give the council a choice other than Monty or nobody. So I object to the wording on the agenda. Now, I get into a big, long oration about this and a big argument with you. My objection is that you're forcing this council to vote for Monty or vote against him. And that's not the way things should work. The council individually should be able to nominate whom they want to out of the applicants.
I am
And
not,
that's not an agenda on, or not an item on this agenda, so that can't be done. My feeling is you're forcing this council to do that.
I am not forcing the council.
That's the way the action item is written on the agenda.
I do not have a vote as mayor
That's
unless
correct,
there
and
is
so
a
you shouldn't
tie.
have a vote, or shouldn't have a chance to recommend or nominate somebody.
I don't have a problem with the recommendation. I do agree with Joe. This item action should read, discuss, consider, and approve hiring of a city administrator with no name. Let us nominate the person, Monty or whoever, and then vote on it. I do disagree with the way this is written. To me, this looks like exactly what everybody up here ran against with the last group.
Does anyone else want to discuss this item?
I would like to chime in and say that this looking like what we ran against with the previous group, or not what I ran against, but what I definitely spoke about, started when Monty was nominated as interim city administrator and hasn't really changed. I think we have interviewed multiple candidates, but the fact that this item is written this way on the agenda, and really that I think both Monty and others have talked like it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the city administrator in the future, just proves what you felt like was going to happen, whether or not there was a vote.
Any other council members wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion?
I have a motion that no action be taken on this item, and that maybe at the next council meeting, the wording on the agenda can be done correctly.
I second that.
Okay, Joe makes a motion for no action taken, and Rodney seconds. All in favor? Sarah, Joe, and Rodney. All opposed? Michael is opposing. Billy, did you?
I haven't voted either way, since we're still discussing and considering. I am a firm believer, and if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's not a turkey. But this is one of those times where this has not been what it looks like. what y'all are saying is it looks like the way it used to be, from what I've seen, is not the way it has been gone about. I wholeheartedly agree with what Steve said. And I've said this from day one, we can find a more qualified applicant on paper. We can't find a more qualified applicant in heart. And that, for me, goes a long way, because he has proven in the time that I've known him that when he needs further education or certification, he goes and gets it. Just like his EDC certification that he received from the University of, I can't even say the word, Oklahoma, hook 'em horns. So, I mean, you can find a more qualified applicant on paper. We can keep looking, we can keep talking about it. You can't find a more qualified applicant in heart.
I agree with Billy. The other thing is too, is we have not had anyone to follow up with the city of Howe that has applied and been interviewed.
It's not going to matter. We're going to keep pushing this off until the election time, and then Mr. Shepherd won't have to make a decision whether we choose Monty or not. So you might as well. I mean, if he's not going to vote, then
You know, the
move
other
on.
thing is I want to say is that Mr. Walker is invested in, as I said in my recommendation letter, he is invested in our city. He's invested in the citizens. Mr. Walker has done a lot in the short 5 months that he has been interim city administrator.
I don't think anybody's questioning that.
It'll always be something. There'll be something on the agenda next that's not worded properly or anything else. May I suggest maybe have Mr. Shepherd kind of consult with you on how the wording should be, that way it's exact.
Well, the agenda is the mayor's agenda.
I understand.
And I can put on the, and I understand what you're saying, you know, Mr. Hill, I appreciate that. But it is the mayor's agenda. And this is the way I chose to word it.
So, Joe, your objection was the way it is worded, correct?
My objection is the mayor's trying to force Monty Walker on us.
Okay, well,
And I have no,
let's reword it. Let's reword it.
You can't
We'll write a new
reword it
agenda
right now,
tomorrow,
but
and we can
you know-
meet Friday. Joe, let's reword it. We'll write a new agenda, and we can meet on Friday. And then you can make your recommendation on who you want. But we can't just sit here and keep pushing this, kicking this can down the street.
we're not
We've
kicking the
got to
can
do
down the street.
something.
If the mayor had done it properly, we wouldn't be kicking the can.
Okay, then let's rewrite the agenda and let's do it Friday. Why are we waiting until next month, Joe? Let's get
Because
it
that's when
done.
the regular council meeting is.
Okay, we can call special ones. We have that ability. Let's get it done. We'll write a new agenda tomorrow. We'll meet Friday. That'll satisfy the 72 hours. You good with that, Joe? Joe, you good with that? I don't know if you heard me.
No, I didn't hear you.
Oh, well, let's rewrite a new agenda and we can meet Friday. Then it'll be worded correctly. Are you good with that?
Well, like I said in the beginning,
So you're not? Okay. We'll just
Yes,
kick it
I'm
down to
good
next
with
month,
that.
Joe. We won't sit here and do anything.
Does any other council member want to discuss this item? Joe, are you sticking with your motion to take no
I
action?
am. You've got a motion, you've got a second, you've got a vote.
And then all in favor was Joe, Rodney, and Sarah. And opposed, Michael Hill.
So you want to just move it to next month, Joe? You don't want to move it to Friday?
It'll be up to the mayor to do that if she words the agenda item correctly.
We can have a special meeting on Friday if
Let's
you
make
would
that
like.
happen. There's no need to wait till next month.
Okay.
Mr. Tidwell, do you understand why he's objecting to this? So if you help the mayor word this, that suffices, but
I did clarify with legal counsel to make certain that I could word it like this on the agenda, and I was told, yes, I could, because this does belong to the mayor, the agenda, and that's why I did it. All opposed, Michael Hill. Billy, how are you voting?
Well, I'll oppose that motion.
Okay, Billy is opposing. Moving on, motion dies. or it does not pass?
Well, the motion did pass.
Technically, the motion for no action passed.
The action for no okay, motion for no action passed. Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. Ordinance number 811, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Howe, Texas, establishing the mobile food vendor permit fee and provisions and providing a penalty not to exceed $500 for violation of this ordinance. We will now have a public hearing for the ordinance number 811, allowing members of the public to speak should they choose to do so. Does anyone have anything that they would like to say regarding this ordinance? Anyone from the public? All right, we will now end the public hearing since we did not have any comment and return to regular session. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and approve ordinance number 811, establishing the mobile food vendor permit fee, provisions, and penalties. Does the council want to discuss this item? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion
Sarah makes a motion to approve.
to approve this item, yes.
Do I have a second to approve?
I'll second.
Billy? All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Ordinance number 812, an ordinance of the City of Howe, Texas, amending ordinance number 809, the budget amendment ordinance for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, and ending September 30, 2024, for the City of Howe, Texas, funding accounts and budget due to unforeseen situations, containing findings, providing for savings and severability. We will now have a public hearing for ordinance number 812, allowing members of the public to speak, should you choose to do so. Does anyone from the public wish to make a comment? Since we have no comments, we will now end the public hearing and return to regular session. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and approve ordinance number 812, budget amendment. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve or otherwise?
I'll make the motion.
Rodney makes a motion to approve.
Yes.
I'll second it for this month.
Billy makes a motion to, or second. All in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Resolution number 2024-0001, a resolution of the City of Howe, Texas, granting owners voluntary petition for annexation, approving a proposed service plan, initiating proceedings on voluntary petition for annexation and required annexation of abutting county road, setting a date, time, and place for public hearings on the proposed voluntary annexation of annexation areas and required annexation of abutting county road by the City of Howe, Texas, authorizing and directing the mayor or secretary to publish and post notice of such public hearings and authorizing other necessary action. We will now have a public hearing for resolution number 2024-0001, allowing members of the public to speak should they choose to do so. Does anyone in the public wish to speak regarding this ordinance? Since we do not have any comments, we will end the public hearing and return to regular session. Item number 4, discuss, consider, and approve the approval of resolution number 2024-0001. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 2024-0001?
I will motion.
Billy makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Michael makes a second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 5, discuss, consider, and approve correction of plat document and authorize signature, Connections Park Edition. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve the correction of plat document and authorized signature?
I'll make the motion.
Rodney makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy seconds. All in favor? Everyone is in favor. Any opposed? None are opposed. Item number 6, discuss and consider and approve Joy Stevens as serving as interim city secretary on a part-time basis. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve?
Actually, I don't know, but I kind of would like to hear from Joy on this, if it's okay.
Sure, absolutely. Joy, would you mind coming to up here and speaking, please?
Sorry, Joy, I know how much you
I think-
talking in public, but I want to hear if you want to be interim city secretary, how long you'll be able to do that and what that'll look like for you.
I'll be glad to help is for a short period of time until someone found a position. I'm trying to retire.
Yeah, I knew you were. That's why I wanted to ask.
And that's why,
I'm willing to help.
thank you, Joy. That's why we're saying on a part-time basis, so we understand that this is not full-time. Any other questions or comments from the council? Do I have a motion to approve Joy Stevens serving as interim city secretary on a part-time basis?
I'll make the motion.
Rodney makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 7, discuss, consider, and approve the city secretary job description. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve the city secretary job description?
I read it, I'm trying to find it.
Michael makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Rodney is second. All in favor? Joe, Rodney, and Michael. Okay, everyone is all in favor. Is everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 8, discuss, consider, and approve the city secretary job posting. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve the city secretary job posting?
I'll motion.
Billy makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
No, I'll second.
Michael makes a second. All in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 9, discuss, consider, and approve the accepting of applications for the city secretary for up to 60 days or until the position is filled. Does the council wish to discuss this item?
What's going to be the interview process?
The council will need to interview.
So are we planning on doing those interviews during regular city council meetings?
Unless
like
we have
were
a
before?
special session for interviews, yes. We would collect resumes, and then the council will do the interviewing process.
I recommend Joe to head that up.
No, Joe declines that invitation.
Does the council wish to discuss this any further? Do I have a motion to approve the accepting of applications for city secretary for up to 60 days or until the position is filled?
I'll make the motion.
Rodney makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah makes a second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Discuss, 10, discuss, consider, and approve the court clerk, permit clerk job description. Does the council wish to discuss this item?
I do have a question. We've been without a court clerk for a while. Why are we deciding to post this now?
Monty, do you want to answer that? I mean, I can, but
Mayor, council,
Initially, when I got here, we had a part-time court clerk fill-in. Tammy was serving as Chief Hudman's assistant down there at the police department and serving time doing the court clerk position. Recently, she has not been there. She's been serving her full-time down at the police department. It was not budgeted initially, apparently. So we're in the position now with the budget amendment that you just adopted that we can hire a full-time court clerk and / permit clerk, because we're going to get to the situation here pretty soon where we're going to need we're going to be handling a lot of permits on this Noble Ridge project. So it can be double duty in that position, I believe.
This is also a position that will require the city council to do interviews, just so you all are aware. Does the council wish to discuss this item any further? Do I have a motion to approve the court clerk / permit clerk job description?
Sorry. I'll make it. Mr. Tidwell, is it statutorily required that the council operate these interviews or conduct these interviews?
That's the way the position was set up in your code of ordinances.
Any other questions before we move on? Michael said he would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Billy will second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Action item 11, discuss, consider, and approve the court clerk / permit clerk job posting. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do we have a motion to approve the court clerk, permit clerk job posting?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Ronnie makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
My OCD kicked in. The job posting down at the bottom says include city secretary in the subject line. I think it was just a typo, a carryover from the city secretary.
We've made that update.
Okay.
Michael.
I'll second.
Michael makes a second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 12, discuss, consider, and approve the accepting of applications for court clerk, permit clerk for up to 60 days or until this position is filled. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve accepting applications for court clerk, permit clerk for up to 60 days or until the position is filled?
I'll motion.
Billy makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Any opposed? None opposed. Item number 13, discuss, consider, and approve the Howe Fire Department paramedic job description with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024. Does the council wish to discuss this item?
Do we have to have it on April Fool's Day as the target? No. Just asking. That's all I got.
With the intent. Any other council members have anything they wish to discuss regarding this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve the Howe Fire Department paramedic job description with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Rodney makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy makes a second. All in favor? Everyone. Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 14, discuss, consider, and approve the Howe Fire Department paramedic job posting with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve the Howe Fire Department paramedic job posting with intent of target date of April 1, 2024?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How are these interviews going to work? Same way? The council,
The interviews,
or is it with the fire chief? Who does that?
I believe they're going to be, Mr. Walker discuss that.
The fire chief will be involved in the interview as well as whoever the city administrator is.
Any other questions from the council? Do I have a motion to approve the Howe Fire Department paramedic job posting with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024? Michael makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Rodney seconds. All in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Item 15, discuss, consider, and approve the accepting of applications for Howe Fire Department paramedics for up to 60 days or until this position is filled with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Rodney?
I'll second.
Billy seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item 16, discuss, consider, and approve the Howe Fire Department EMT job description with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024. Does the council wish to discuss this item?
I have a silly question about this item. What's the difference between EMT and a paramedic?
That's not a silly question. That is a good
EMT is
question.
your basic level emergency medical technician, a paramedic is your advanced life support. Be able to give products, CPR, intubations, everything advanced. That's the difference.
How many of each do you plan on having for the?
3 of each.
Okay.
3 of each for full-time positions.
Is that on like a rotating 8-hour shift, or they do 24?
They'll be on a rotating 24-hour shift.
Okay.
They'll work 24 on, 48 off, and they'll rotate 8 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Any other council member wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I do.
Ronnie's going to approve, make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Michael makes a second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item 17, discuss, consider, and approve the Howe Fire Department EMT job posting with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve the Howe Fire Department EMT job posting with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Michael makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Rodney makes a second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item 18, discuss, consider, and approve the accepting of applications for Howe Fire Department EMT for up to 60 days or until the position is filled with the intent of a target date of April 1, 2024. Does the council wish to discuss this item? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Billy makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Rodney makes a second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Action number 19, discuss, consider, and approve the lease purchase agreement between the City of Howe and the Independent Financial, and, excuse me, let me start over. Discuss, consider, and approve the lease/purchase agreement between the City of Howe and Independent Financial to purchase a Ford F-150 from Silsby Ford for $62,999.98 and authorize the city administrator to execute and sign all documents pertaining to the purchase. Does the council wish to discuss this item?
What will this be used for?
Police car.
This, I'm going to let Chief Hudman, if you will, Chief, come up and to the
Oh, it's for
council
the
and discuss it.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
This was something that the previous council approved in December of 2022 to, they approved it for the PD. Is that correct, Chief?
That's correct.
So it's just gonna be used, I mean, is it gonna be fitted out as a, you know, lights and the whole 9 yards? It's just gonna be something y'all use to haul stuff around, I mean,
I can't tell you exactly how it's going to be marked just yet, but it will be used by our investigator, who is also
okay.
used for patrol.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was used for the police, but yeah, I don't have a problem with it. That's all. I just didn't know what it was used for.
The council is not, they're not voting on approving it. It's already actually been approved. Again, it was approved by the previous council in December of 2022, but this is actually to change the way it was worded. It was worded where the previous city administrator could sign all the documents that pertain to the purchase. And since that's obviously not possible, that's why this is on the agenda. So it was already approved in December of 2022.
Okay, thanks.
Does the council have any other questions about this for?
So is this going to be part of your patrol fleet?
Yes.
Do you know when it'll be ready?
It's ready now.
And you said you don't, is it marked, unmarked?
Right now, it's unmarked.
Are there plans to mark it?
There are.
Okay. Is it equipped as a patrol vehicle? It's got a partition, radar?
Does not have a radar because, no, it doesn't have a radar. It does not have a partition.
I'm sorry?
No, it does not have either of those items.
So until, I mean, the radar's kind of ancillary, but until it has a partition, it can't really be used as a patrol vehicle, correct?
No, it can.
So you said that when it was approved, it was going to be earmarked for your investigator. And it's no secret that we now have more police vehicles than we have officers. Is there a way, since it's already been purchased and approved, is there any other city department that could use this vehicle?
No.
I'm sorry?
No,
So it's specifically for the police department?
it is.
Why could no other department operate it?
Because it was approved and budgeted for the police department, and that's how we intend to use it.
Okay, this might be a question. Or Mr. Walker and Mr. Tidwell, is there a statutory requirement that says that we can't use city-owned vehicles for other city departments? If it was budgeted for a specific department?
Well, I can interject before I sit down, and that is, you'll have to remove the police radio from the vehicle.
And Chief Hudman, is the payment for this, I know that we've been waiting for it to be ready to make the payment, but it's already in the budget, correct?
I don't know if the money's still there or not, is it?
It is.
I thought I saw it in there.
Then-
Is that correct?
Then it is. We haven't used it.
If it were used for a different department, the money would have to be, the budget would have to be amended, correct, Mr. Walker?
My question was two-part, because we're eventually going to have a vehicle for our fire chief, correct?
I believe that to be correct.
He has requested one, yes.
Money is technically already spent. We have a surplus of police vehicles. Makes fiscal sense to me that if we've already spent the money and we are removing a radio away from having an emergency response vehicle for a newly created fire chief position, that we make the necessary budgetary amendment for this vehicle to be for the fire chief.
One of the big issues going to get into, Billy, and I understand where you're coming from, is that originally we had, 5 or 6 officers before things changed, and that's why the vehicle was budgeted for the new one. The paperwork at the bank is specifically for a police vehicle. So there would be issues if we bought it under the knowledge that under knowledge at the bank that it would be a police vehicle, then I think you would have some issues if you let fire department or public works or anybody else use it. That's something you need to address, maybe address in the future, but right now, the bank is waiting on these signatures because everything is ready to go.
Well, what city administrator's signature do we use?
We would have to wait until the city
You
administrator
can't wait.
position was filled.
Monty is the official interim city administrator. He can sign the paperwork on it.
But on the agenda item here, it says authorize the city administrator to execute and sign all documents pertaining to the purchase. It does not say interim.
I have an issue with that wording of that item. You're correct, it does not say interim. I motion we table this till next month.
Second.
Okay, Billy makes a motion to table. Michael makes a second.
Here's the problem with tabling this motion. We have had a very good working relationship with Independent Financial Bank for 40-plus years. And it is my understanding that the city needs something, the bank takes care of it. And even with this item, I know Anna Anderson well. She came to me to make sure she explained why the vehicle hadn't been ready yet so that I would understand the motion when it came in front for the agenda. If we were to table this motion today, and I understand where you're coming from, Billy, I do understand where you're coming from, but if we were to table this motion today, it doesn't really affect us. It really does affect Independent Financial. It also affects our ability to purchase from the dealership because they have a purchase order that says we have approved this. If they're not able to get signatures, we are in default, which means the bank could call the note if we decided to do
Well,
that.
since we're going to be back on Friday, we could put this on the agenda
I was
for
thinking
Friday.
it was Monday, today is Tuesday, we would have to meet Saturday,
Okay.
which I'm okay with.
Since we're going to be back on Saturday, we can vote
No,
to
we can't have a
vote
meeting
on
on
this
Saturday.
on Saturday.
No, on Saturday to a meeting.
Why
Well-
can't we meet on Saturday?
No.
Why can't we? Why can't we meet on Saturday?
No, I didn't say y'all couldn't meet. I said I couldn't meet on Saturday, which would be perfect for you. Then I wouldn't be able here to stand up for it.
What about next Tuesday?
I'll have to check my social calendar to see.
If this was something we could resolve tonight, is there something in our statutes, Mr. Tidwell, that says that someone on council could sign in lieu of city administrator for all bank documents?
We've had the interim city administrator signing multiple documents, and since he is acting as the interim, I think that it's within your scope of your agenda item to authorize him. I think the issue last time was that Mr. Stanley was authorized, and so that's what we're in general correcting. So I think that you could authorize those signatures in that way.
So we could make a motion to approve this, from city administrator the ability to sign.
Yes, I think that's fairly within the scope of this, because he's acting and signing on other documents, and the only thing that's different is you see the word interim next to his title.
So I know we have a motion on the table. Mayor, I'll leave it to you which one.
I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay. Billy's going to withdraw his motion.
With that withdrawn, I'd like to make a motion to approve this with the understanding that the interim city administrator can sign the necessary documents.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Sarah makes a motion to approve the interim city administrator to sign the documents. Rodney makes a second. All in favor?
It'll carry without me, but you can count me opposed.
Okay. So Sarah, Michael, Rodney, and Joe are in favor, and all opposed, Billy Ingram. Action item number 20, discuss, consider, and approve preliminary plat for Noble Ridge Phase 1B, being a 29.734 acres situated in the Mary Miller Survey, abstract number 776, in the city of Howe, Grayson County, Texas. Does council wish to discuss this item? I think our
Just a real quick update on this. This is a plat for Phase 1B. The engineers are here, and I understand that they've addressed a number of edits and issues. And where we are is that we are discussing some amendments to the development agreement. We did not have that ready for council tonight. So what this does is we're going to be asking, and P&Z approved it, so it's the same, it's the recommendation of P&Z as well, that the council approve the Noble Ridge Phase 1B preliminary plat with conditions, and the conditions are set out in the city engineer's letter dated January 16, 2024. When we bring the amendment to the development agreement forward, we believe that these will all be taken care of, but since it's not formally approved, we need to make these conditions.
Does any council member have any questions or want to discuss this? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Billy makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Well, second.
Michael makes a second. All in favor? Everyone, any opposed? None opposed. 21, departmental reports. Police Department. Chief, please.
For the month of December, the police department answered 109 calls for service, generated 4 reports, made no felony arrests, 1 misdemeanor arrest, issued 5 citations, responded to 5 motor vehicle crashes, and completed a total of 33 hours of T-Cole training.
Does anyone have any questions for Chief Hudman?
Do you still have the one applicant in the hiring process?
We do. We anticipate a tentative starting date somewhere around the 29th. I haven't, I don't know if I've actually sent that email yet or not, but
Congratulations. It's good news.
thank you.
So, hold on, Chief, I have a couple more questions. Going nowhere near an implied quota. I have seen your annual departmental reports, and for the last several months, the number of citations have been very, very low. In fact, the last 4 or 5 months of the year in 2023, you wrote just as many, your department wrote just as many citations as they did in the month of June or July. Several months had over hundreds of citations written. Now, I know and understand that you have fewer officers than that number, but you also have fewer calls for service. Is there a reason in the decline of self-generated activity?
Which self-generated activity?
Well, the traffic stops for one, and issuing citations. Not every traffic stop has to enter
Fewer
a
officers,
citation.
fewer officers would equate to fewer traffic stops.
Yes, I realize that, but you also have fewer calls for service. Just like this month, you had 109, but in the
You
month
said,
of
excuse me,
January,
you said something about quota. What was that? I didn't hear it.
I said not going anywhere near an implied quota that your department has to issue a certain number of citations a month. Not going anywhere near that.
Okay.
But looking at the statistics and the numbers, you have 50% fewer calls and way less self-generated activity. And you know what I mean by self-generated activity?
Sure I do.
I'm sorry?
Sure I do.
Is there a correlation? Can you explain that?
Well, I had hoped that you'd probably be asking about the physical and mental welfare of the officers who are working excessive hours, but you're not asking that. You're asking about
Chief, I
why.
grew up in law enforcement.
You're asking
worked in
why.
it.
No,
it's
Bill, you
fewer-
can preface that with no quota, but what you're saying is you want them to have a quota for the number of traffic stops.
No, that is not at all
How
what I'm
many is
saying,
that?
Joe.
If
You
you've
can
been
put
in
words
law
in my mouth all you
enforcement,
want. Both of you can.
You have
You
to
can
go
put
out.
words in my mouth all you
You've been in
want,
law
Joe.
enforcement, you know you're gonna stop, you can stop a lot of people, or you can stop just one, unless you have a quota, which you're suggesting, even though you deny it.
You can put words
Just
in my
because
mouth
they're
all you
writing
want.
less tickets doesn't mean they're not doing things.
And you can imply that I don't care about the officers. Chief, you know the family and the background that I grew up in.
Oh, I do, yes.
I know firsthand the physical and mental well-being of the members of law enforcement. I don't have to ask about that because I've lived with it. I know that. I understand it firsthand.
How many citations would be appropriate? How many
That's
would
up to
like?
you. You're the chief.
Okay, then that's what we'll do.
So how many would be appropriate? I'm asking if there's a
If you ask how
correlation.
many is appropriate, then you're asking for a quota.
No, I'm not.
I think you put him through enough, that's all it is.
You don't get to decide when I'm done, Joe.
Huh?
You don't get to decide when I'm done.
Yeah, you need to be done.
You can volunteer to help.
Oh, he has been.
But you're asking about self-initiated contacts, you're talking about a quota.
No, I'm not. I said self-initiated activity. That's where you
What
don't
is
receive
that?
a
What is
call
that?
from Grayson County's dispatch. And it's not necessarily traffic stops. Out of 109 calls for service, they've generated 4 reports.
I can add to that. You can bet your ass that you're going to have fewer self-initiated calls from 3 cops. We cannot afford to have the officers out there just beating the bushes, making every kind of arrest that they can off this highway, and leaving us even more shorthanded. So yes, there's going to be fewer self-initiated calls for service.
So you're saying that due to your manpower, you are a sit and wait response now?
I didn't say that. That's what you said.
Oh,
Is that all you have, Mr. Ingram?
yes, sir. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Any other council members have questions for Chief Hudman? Thank you, sir. Next up, Fire Department. Chief Monet.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Howe Fire Rescue answered 54 calls for service in the month of December, being various grass fires, structure fires, MVAs, EMS calls. EMS calls accounted for 72% of the call volume in the month of December. Howe's been busy with trainings dedicated to live fire trainings and driving trainings. The ambulances are ready to go. They've had their official radios installed, and that's been finalized, so they are 100% ready to go, minus people. So once we get those done, we will get them staffed and get them going. January 1, the fire chief position started full-time. It's gone smoothly so far. A lot more things that I didn't realize needed done are being done now. One thing that we received after this was turned in is the Howe Fire Department received its new thermal imaging camera. This will help us with structure fires, grass fires, searching for victims. So that's a positive thing that we just got. That is a great tool for the toolbox. Just wanted to put on here with the incoming weather and the weather that we've already had, please be careful with heaters and heating units. Any questions?
Council, anybody have any questions for Chief? Thank you, sir. Code enforcement, I believe Ben is out today. Mr. Walker will read his report.
This will probably be a lot shorter than Ben's. Code enforcement report for December 2023. 1 courtesy letter for code violation was mailed. 8 violation letters for code violations. 0 violations were mailed. 3 doors were tagged for code violation. 3 verbal warnings given for code violation. 22 code violations interactions were made and or corrected via phone calls. 8 interactions were made, corrected via email. 10 in person. 4 permits were signed off and completed. There were 2 FOIA requests submitted and completed for December. 1 permit was transferred to Bureau Veritas. These actions totaled 54. He's got an all-American dogs report, patrolled city focusing on stray animals. Responded to barking dog complaint at the certain address. Didn't hear any barking when he got there. Removed a deceased coyote on Hughes Young Street. Patrolled city focusing on stray animals. Spoke to Becky on that. Patrolled city focusing on stray animals. Patrol City focusing on stray animals again, and remove deceased raccoon at Kirby and Maple.
Any questions from the council? Thank you, sir. Public Works? Mickey?
Mayor, council, good evening. My department report this month will be a little lengthier than what it normally runs, so please bear with me as I try to convey some critical things to council and public. So Public Works has carried out 87 service orders for a total of 103 hours of work performed. Of those 103 hours spent on service orders, 60 hours were spent towards water, 30 hours towards sewer, 4 hours towards streets, 0 hours toward miscellaneous tasks. Now on to some of the hard-hitting issues and updates. Recently, a busy schedule and oversight on my part resulted in a notice of violation, NOV, from TCEQ regarding tank cleanings. TCEQ typically issues two types of violations. NOV, which is notice of violation, indicating an observed violation during an investigation with a determined time frame for the city to return to compliance. And the other is a NOE, known as a notice of enforcement, signifying a severe violation that requires formal enforcement actions, including financial penalties and corrective measures. Contrary to any rumors being spread on social media sites, the NOV received by Howe is not associated with the discolored water quality issues, as all active storage tanks currently holding G2A water owned by the city of Howe have been cleaned as of September 26, prior to the violation being issued by TCEQ for the remaining storage tanks. Despite this, the issue persists as of today. The remaining tanks located west of the Highway 75 corridor and containing well water with 0 reported quality complaints in 2023 are scheduled for cleaning by U.S. Underwater sometime in February to early March, but the cleaning will be completed and reported before the deadline for the violation corrections. All right, second topic, I wanted to provide a water quality update. In December, the Public Works Department successfully completed the chloramine conversion of well number 2, making it the primary water source for the east side of the city of Howe. This change significantly improved water quality and resolved discoloration issues throughout majority of the city's public water system within 72 hours of implementation. In December, however, the newly converted well experienced a significant decrease in production, dropping from 210 gallons per minute rate to only 150 gallons per minute rate. This output is insufficient for meeting prolonged water demand. CCS water specialists, a trusted provider for Howe's well production needs, determined that the well is going dry, with only about 20 foot of water table remaining above the pump and motor, located approximately 1,800 foot below the ground. The well had to be taken out of service for the meantime, and purchased surface water has currently become the primary source for the east side of the Highway 75 once again. This is also leading to a rise of those discolored water quality issues once again as well. Historically, the historical practice of supplying well water to Howe's pipes resulted in the accumulation of scale and mineral deposits on the interior walls of metallic plumbing, particularly steel pipes used extensively in the city's distribution system for domestic water supply to residential taps. However, with the shift to using purchased surface water as the sole primary source from November 2022 onwards for the system east of the Highway 75, a noteworthy transformation occurred. Due to the soft characteristics of the surface water, when the soft characteristics of the surface water interacted with the existing mineral deposits on the interior walls of metallic pipes. This caused the deterioration and the suspension in the water of those mineral deposits and that scaling as the soft water characteristics deteriorated that. And then as that water as that water gets put in motion and flows about the system, this transitions from a clear appearance to a discolored, stained yellow hue, or in the most severe cases, a rust color, which is also known in our industry as red water. During the summer of 2022, we did have a escalated, widespread case going of discolored water. The challenges with the water quality escalated, primarily stemming from discoloration issues traced back to the provider. During that time, all cities within Collin Grayson Municipal Alliance, including ours, faced issues of discolored water and also earthy taste and odor issues. In my personal and professional opinions, I attribute the summer problems to the treatment practices and potential new source water introductions into the North Texas regional system by North Texas, contrary not to what I was told by some of the purveyors for North Texas Municipal Water District was that the coalition cities were just doing poor distribution maintenance practices. Let's see. Sorry, let me get my place here. So now, as of October, the widespread discoloration issues that all the coalition cities are experiencing, that dissipated for all those other cities to pretty much non-existent as of October, once the summer months and that summer heat kind of dissipated, where we're still dealing with some of the discoloration issues. Public Works has made efforts to minimize these non-appealing side effects by the strategic placement of automated flush stations to move water about the system during times of low demand. We have also reduced capacity levels and pump cycle run times in attempts to minimize water age within the distribution system. We've performed some replacement of steel water lines known to be contributing to the issues. And we also have been responding promptly to each water quality work order so to help customers address discoloration and determine if flushing is needed on the public water system or if flushing is needed on the private sector of the plumbing. So to address the water issue, ongoing efforts involve cleaning the well formation currently through sediment jetting, to create voids allowing for increased water production. There is optimism that this jetting method will restore the well to its previous production levels, or potentially even slightly better than prior to the well going down. While the completion of this work is still in the scheduling phase, we are hopeful with the intention to commence on that work within the next 2 weeks, hopefully. If successful, the plan is to reinstate the repaired well as a primary water source. Additionally, there will be supplementary use of purchased surface water from G2A in small doses carefully managed to avoid exceeding a 3-day period. This strategy aims to prevent the discoloration issues in the public water system from developing. Over the last year, we've kind of, through using the water and testing this, because a lot of this is a lot of trial and error, and so we've kind of determined that typically if we're solely using surface water on the east side of our water system, that usually we've got a 72-hour window before we start to receive phone calls for water quality complaints. So that's where we kind of developed that 3-day window of, hey, we need to be moving to another source or blending these sources together within this time frame in order to minimize these side effects. Also, currently, I've contacted the Texas Water Development Board to explore potential financial assistance programs for well development. The city of Howe is in need of financial support to acquire a new and larger well, which I believe, based upon some of my legwork I have done, I do believe if we were to develop a new well, that could be obtained on the same property and site as the existing well number 2 site, and still be able to obtain the 500-foot sanitary control easement boundaries that are required for the well. But this new well will be intended to serve as a primary source for the foreseeable future. The necessity arises due to the city's growth and escalating water demands. The goal is to secure a reliable water supply until the distribution system undergoes necessary updates, enabling sustained use of surface water sources to be met not just for contractual obligations, but also accommodate the demands resulting from future growth. Also, on top of that, I've also brought some visual concepts with me tonight that I wanted to show to the council and the public to kind of convey the cause of this issue and kind of how it develops to kind of better convey that. So if you don't mind what I'd like to do, I'd like to approach the council table and kind of just pass this along to council. Please be careful with these jugs. They don't have a seal top lid, so they're kind of filled and they will leak out some water. So the first material I'm going to pass around is basically a sample of a 2-inch steel line with some mineral deposits that was taken out of the Howe's water system for repairs prior to using G2A surface water. So it had your scaling mineral deposits on it. So that is a sample of the well water. These samples were taken, this test was done today at 12 noon is whenever I put this all together. So this is basically the results you're going to see is basically just from today starting at noon as far as what the reactions have been. So that first jug was the city's well water source and how it reacts with steel and metallic and piping materials. And then the second one is an example of just solely the purchased surface water with the steel line from Howe's distribution system submerged into the water source. And so basically what you're conveying there is kind of showing you the immediate reaction that occurs with the two water sources and the type of plumbing material, and just how kind of quick that instant reaction is, and that oxidation, and that how that soft characteristics of that surface water just kind of basically takes on and absorbs that mineral deposit and scaling into its makeup, and then hence why you wind up with kind of the discolored water, it's yellow or rusty red. And then I did bring one other observation as well in order to try to convey, so that you kind of grasp, whenever I say mineral deposits, so that you kind of grasp what I'm talking about when I talk about the mineral deposits and scaling. So this is another section of pipe taken from the distribution system. So the first piece of pipe passing around was also previous to taking on purchased surface water to the system. If you look in the interior wall of the pipes, you'll see a bunch of little nodes implanted on the inside walls of the pipe. That is your mineral deposit and scaling. So that was what was previously on the inside walls of the steel pipes. Now the reason that develops is it's actually a protective characteristic that the groundwater does, and it actually creates a protective coating on the inside of that pipe wall and kind of helps it protect it from corrosion over time. And then the second sample of steel pipe from our water system as well that I wanted to pass around and show you is taking from after using the two sources in applying surface water to our system. And what you'll notice there with that steel pipe is you'll see that there's no longer, you're not seeing those placements of that mineral deposit or that pipe scaling on the interior wall of that pipe anymore. And the reason is because the soft characteristics of the surface water have deteriorated those deposits down and put it into a solution with the water. And whenever it's sitting still, the water will still stay relatively clear. once that water becomes in motion, it will instantaneously go from clear to slightly stained or rust red. So that is basically what is causing the discoloration issues. Like I said, currently with the well down, we are slowly on surface water source right now. That's why I think it is very critical in my professional advice for us to continue to pursue regaining a permanent groundwater source for this side of the highway.
Mickey, you mentioned in your report that there has been some replacement of steel water lines known to be contributing to the issues. Are there still steel water lines that are known to be contributing to the issues that you haven't been able to replace?
Yes, ma'am. There are several areas. Some areas aren't even really producing the quality issue. Other areas are. But that, over my years of history of working here, it does seem to see in my professional opinion, that Howe's infrastructure was put in place here. Larger water mains were basically put in place for fire protection. And then you had a lot of smaller diameter steel water lines, different type of material water lines that were branched off of these big water lines used for fire protection. And these smaller, most often steel water lines is what's serving the domestic usage for a lot of the residential taps in Howe, which is why you get so many reported cases and complaints, is because a lot of the residential home use taps are connected to these kind of problematic water lines.
This may not be a question that you have the answer to today, but what's the difference in cost between creating another groundwater source and replacing the steel pipes that are causing the problem?
So I don't really know as far as educated expense to pipe replacement. Now, educated expenditure on new well development, that can be, on the high end, you're looking at roughly $500,000 to get a new well dug, get all your infrastructure in place, everything moved over, and to be up and running, operating.
I don't have a deadline for when we need the information, but if you do plan to come to council talking about creating that other groundwater source, I would recommend that you might have the information about what replacement costs would be as well.
Gotcha. Yes, and like I said, we're currently working with Texas Water Development Board. We're looking to set up I've talked with them. They've put me in contact with another representative who is going to basically dial up a second meeting in which I can include interim city manager, whoever at that point in time, and they will basically sit us down, kind of go over the different funding paths that they provide. Basically our circumstances would meet several different funding paths and availabilities that they do have. So we're basically waiting to hear from them so that they can kind of inform us, hey, here's the available funding paths that we do have, and here's the stipulations behind those. And then we also have contact with G2A themselves. G2A is also capable of an entity that is capable of providing financial assistance to other municipalities as well. So we're also in conversations with them as well as far as entertaining new well constructions.
So my last question, at the end of this report, you talk about the distribution system undergoing necessary updates, and is that like the whole system from North Texas Municipal Water District that you're referring to there?
Oh, no, ma'am. That referral would be to the steel water line replacements in troubled areas and strategic areas of the water system.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does the council, any other council member have questions for Mr. Phillips?
A lot of good information.
Sir?
Will you work with Monty and get pictures of these and the explanations of them online so that we can share that with
Yes, sir. We can do that.
Any other questions from council members or comments? Thank you, sir. Appreciate the visual aid. Next up, we have economic development, Monty Walker. He's also going to report on municipal court, administration, and utility department.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mickey for his science project. He was pretty giddy this week. We've had those samples at City Hall. We've been watching them all week, so I know he and Blake have worked really hard on that. And matter of fact, I think the first thought came from Blake when he had noticed he had a pipe that he just happened to be submerged, and he noticed the coloring, so I think that's what led to this. But I want to thank those guys. So I have on here that we'd scheduled an upcoming meeting with GTUA to correct the flushing number. So when I attended my first GTUA meeting, I noticed that the numbers didn't look right as far as the flushing numbers. All 4 cities in the coalition were being charged the same amount, which I thought was ridiculous based upon our numbers and Anna and Melissa's numbers. I had Nolan research the contract, in which he did, and we found a little clause in there, which I petitioned GTUA about trying to fix this situation, and I informed Van Alstyne that they might want to look into it as well. I'm happy to say that they have corrected this position, and we got a check today for $43,000 back from what they were overcharging us going back to our fiscal year. And that, our take or pay amount will be reduced now from the 82 million gallons that it was jacked up to with our flushing amount, and they'll reduce that to 72,000 gallons. So that's a big win for us. And I still say I don't know that we'll still have the same numbers to sell at the end of the year, but we should not be in the position where we have the overage that we did a year ago and got that big $100,000 invoice in October. We shouldn't see that. So I'm happy about that. Had continued discussions along the property along US 75 for heavy machine equipment sales and commercial development. We're still in discussions there. We've had development meetings with Impression Homes, which is Howe Meadows, you'll learn about. That was on the consent agenda. Noble Ridge, obviously, and Cope Equities. The city sales tax receipt for December was $47,934.58. Of that, $11,983.65 belongs to the Type B Corporation. So the city's total for the fiscal year is $154,450.87, which is about half of what was originally budgeted. So we're doing pretty good there. The Type B Corporation's total for the fiscal year is $51,483.62, which is a 25% split of the total. At the end of December, the Type B Corporation has $197,706 in the bank balance and a CD balance of $52,335. Depending on what happens, if anything ever happens, we are going to do a Type B project, but that will continue to be pushed down the road. Summit Gardens has collected $13,080 in 2023. The operating account of Collins Memorial Fund has a balance of $12,229.53. Chamber of Commerce announced the 2024 Hall of Honor members, which are Jim Fryer and Leandra Beckemeyer. That date will be May 3rd, 2024, the night before Founders Day and voting day. The Chamber will also hold its second Howe Hump Day of the year, February 7th, right here at Summit Gardens. Lama Realty Group, Dana Thornhill will sponsor that, and the Chamber ended its year with 26 new members. In utility billing for December, 14 total connects, 9 disconnects, 3 active hydrant meter accounts. We billed $199,294 for December. So holding strong there on our utilities. As far as court goes, we're way down on court. And this is concerning because we have $90,000 income budgeted. I didn't make a budget amendment for that amount, but we're going to have to at some point because we're not bringing in the revenue on the court side that we normally do. The net is $83.34 for December. Lastly, I want to thank Joy. She has been outstanding and remarkable during this period of time, and I know this is going to embarrass her, but she has been absolutely incredible in keeping the ship running during this time. I can't thank her enough. Her expertise has been invaluable for us during this period of time, so I just wanted to let her know I appreciate her. Yeah, that's all I got.
Any questions from the council for Mr. Walker? Thank you, sir. We'll move on to executive session. The City Council will convene in closed session pursuant to the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, executive session as authorized by Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter, Open Meetings Act, Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. Discussion items are Noble Ridge, Impression Homes, Howe Meadows, real estate matters. The council will now go into executive session, and the time is 7:41 p.m.
Usually we still have a crowd. Who would wait outside? It's cold. It's so much colder out here than in that room.
It is incredibly cold out here today.
I have 2 layers on.
We have a walkway from the parking garage to the office that's on the second floor of the building.
Monty, are we online? Yes. Okay. The council will now reconvene into open session. The time is 8:32 p.m. Number 22, discuss, consider, and approve any items listed under closed or executive session if needed. There is no action taken. If there's no further business to come before this council, this meeting stands adjourned at 8:32 p.m.